All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the first episode of betting podcast, Bet The Bankroll. Co-host Tommy here with my fellow Tommy as well, Tommy Boyle. We'll be going through, hopefully doing weekly episodes of this, going through some of our favorite picks, and then we'll also sprinkle in a little bit of DFS stuff. I know Tommy's a little bit more of the expert in that area, but I'll be trying my hand with that. Tommy, welcome.
Hello, welcome. Good to be here,
Yeah, I'm
and I'm
glad.
excited for the first podcast.
Yeah, glad we actually. I know we were talking about this for a while, so I'm glad we got something going here. So, like I said, we'll kind of just probably go through each of our top picks for this week. This week, we're going to focus specifically on the NFL. We're going to each make a couple picks there, and then we'll both go through our DFS picks as well. We did for DraftKings, we did for FanDuel too. So we'll have two different options here. So, Tom, if you want to get us started, we'll move over to your picks, and you can see our little guys here that are with us. Obviously, that's Tommy, and mine will debut soon.
Yeah, first off, great job with those the Bitmoji guys. That was a great idea by you. That was all Tommy's idea. It looks awesome. It looks professional. So
Got little
I
guys with us.
little blue suits look pretty good.
All business.
But, all right, so the first one I have up here is Saints -3. I know Taysom Hill started in the last game against Atlanta, and I'm pretty sure they won by a pretty good amount. He looked really good against them, so I love -3 there. Vegas -8. They're going up against the Jets, and the Jets they're purposely trying to lose. They're tanking. So I feel like 8 points is there, and I'm pretty sure, I can't say that Las Vegas did just get their ass kicked last week, so I feel like they're going to come out a little bit angry here. Next one up, Michael Thomas anytime touchdown. So he hasn't scored in the 2 games yet with Taysom Hill, but he has 50% of the targets that he's thrown the ball, which is an absurd number. So it's only a matter of time before he gets in the end zone. Devontae Booker anytime touchdown. I mean, the Jets suck. I just talked about it, especially against the run. A lot of running backs score against them. So I mean, I love Devontae Booker there. And Austin Eckler anytime touchdown. I think Austin Eckler went down on the 1 yard line twice last week. So, and plus he had 16 receptions. I think he had 18 targets, maybe even more than that.
He had a whole bunch. He had a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just gonna get fed the ball. So I could definitely see him getting in the end zone. And plus, it's for positive. He's one of the only running backs that have a plus 115 as opposed to like Dalvin Cook was like -400. So I definitely like Eckler there.
Yeah, I like these picks. Looking at them from my own perspective, I mean, I like the Saints -3. I think, I mean, they I don't know about you, but they seem to me like they've been like a sneaky, really good team. I feel like they're not necessarily getting the kind of coverage that you see like the Chiefs, like the Steelers. Obviously, like I know the other day I was like looking at the standings, I'm like, wait a minute, the Saints are 8-2. I don't know, like I think they are 8-2 now. Just like I don't know. To me, I did because with Breeze getting hurt, with Michael Thomas's whole slant boy fiasco, with like Kamara being obviously going crazy, and now he's kind of Taysom Hill's kind of taking his role. They're a sneaky good team. So yeah, I like that one. Obviously the Jets are just, a train wreck. So I like that. And then to your fifth one, with Eckler there, I think I'm curious to see how he is this week. I think last week, a large part maybe that kind of caught people off guard was just not really knowing what to expect from him. I feel like him being out for so long, what ended up being maybe 5 weeks or 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks, 7 weeks,
whatever it ended up being. I think, I mean, I guess the game plan, you didn't really know what they were going to have his role be, whether he was going to, be on the field for, a couple drives. You see so many guys come back from injuries and they're almost used like a decoy. They bring him out for a couple drives and pull him out. So I expect the Chargers to probably use him in pretty full fashion. I mean, Herbert has a good amount of weapons there with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry. So for him to get another running back, I mean, I think that only bolsters all those guys' value. I mean, the more weapons you have, obviously the ball has to go around more, but that's also more people the defense has to focus on. So yeah, I mean, I like your board. I think these all obviously have a good chance. The Michael Thomas one scares me a little bit. I mean, obviously Taysom Hill's a more of a runner than he is a thrower. That is a good stat you pull out though with the air yards. I mean, that's, to me, that just screams touchdown because he's exactly. Like, and especially at the plus 175. So yeah, I like your board. I think we'll see. We'll see obviously how it plays out, but yeah, I like it. I think it looks good.
Thank you.
So then, yeah, so we'll we'll go to my picks now. So I just came off about being $60 down in the drain after Rutgers decided to really show up today against Penn State. So I'm really looking to hopefully get back in the column here, the win column. So my first pick I'm going to go with the over in the Saints Falcons game. I got that at 46.5. To me, these matchups have always just screamed points. I feel like anytime I see these teams play, they just rack up the points. And this is actually, I was surprised to see this when I first saw, who was playing. I said, that's got to be probably 52, maybe something like that. But to see it's at 46.5, I mean, that's almost a touchdown below what I expected. So I jumped all over that. I mean, obviously, I don't think the Saints offense is as high pace and kind of upbeat as they were with Breeze. But to me, I don't know. I could be wrong, probably will be wrong, but my guess is that just screams points. Also, Arizona +3. I mean, Arizona going up against the Rams is it's not a great matchup for them. I know both. I mean, I could see that game hitting the over as well. But I liked the points. I'll take the points there for Arizona. I'll take those 3 points and see. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's in Arizona. And they had a interesting matchup last week. I was all over them versus the Patriots, and they actually ended up losing there at that last second field goal. So back home, that division's tight. They need a win. So give me the points. And I mean, I even like them outright, but I'll take the points. And then Indianapolis against Houston. Obviously, Houston just lost Will Fuller. So we'll get into it in our DFS. We're both kind of heavy on Texans receivers because I think there's some value to be had there. But I like the Colts to bounce back because they got absolutely destroyed last week from the Titans. So I like them -3. And then last, I like the Patriots +1.5. They're going up against who they playing? They're playing the Chargers. And I think the Chargers just find ways to lose. So if I could get any team against the Chargers with points going towards them, I'm going to jump on it. So I think, Patriots +1.5, just based off of how the Chargers have been. And then last, I put together a little parlay. Taysom Hill and Derrick Henry anytime touchdowns. I wanted to do just Derrick Henry, but I think was like -300, I believe. And I'm not dropping. Yeah, I'm not dropping that. Like the odds are there for a reason. I mean, the guy's a machine. So we'll see. I mean, I paired Taysom Hill because I feel like he, if anyone, has going to have the most red zone opportunities at somewhat reasonable odds. So we'll see what happens. That ended up coming out to +174 when you paired the two. So we'll see. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on these picks?
No, I definitely like the over in that 46.5. I was actually going to include that in mine, but I already had two parts of that Saints game, so I was like, I can't do a third. That's just going to be too many Saints logos on my board. So, but I definitely like that one a lot. Arizona, I think that they're still a better team than the Rams. The Rams have been really hot lately, but I mean, as you said, like I honestly like Cardinals money line, but I mean, if they're giving us 3 points, I'll take 3 points. Colts, I mean, as you said in the DFS part, we're going to talk about that a lot. I expect them to be down. I mean, not the Colts, the Texans, I expect to be down. So I mean, obviously that's why we're playing the Texans receivers. So that just fits our mold that we're going to be talking about later. And then that Derrick Henry, Taysom Hill parlay was actually really smart, just because I mean, both of them are what, like minus. I mean, you just said it was Henry was like
both
-300 and Taysom was like minus like I think he was almost like was he almost -200, I think.
He was. I don't know exactly remember, but he was he definitely wasn't, like, he was definitely negative odds. He wasn't even on. So I got both of those guys who are, favored to score, obviously.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot, especially because I mean it's December. It's Derrick Henry's time. So
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I feel pretty good about this. We'll get into a little segment at the end where we'll talk a little bit more about these, but I guess for now we'll shift over to the DFS side. So Boyle, if you want to kind of tee it off there, you want to just go through your lineup and then we'll go from there.
yeah, so both these I made low risk. Low risk in DFS purposes means you target double ups, single entry GPPs, head to heads. So that's basically what low risk is. I should throw a shout out to Occupy Fantasy. It's where I work and write NBA articles. Our NFL writer is very smart, and he actually puts a lot of thought in there for high risk as well, which is when you're targeting like trying to get in the top, like I don't even know, top 10% of like tournaments and stuff. That's what they focus on. So So yeah, so this is all low risk here. On DraftKings, I'm going Watson, Cook, Booker, Myers, Cooks, Kute, Frisker, Eckler, and Seattle. So obviously we were talking about earlier about how we liked Texans a lot. So Deshaun Watson, I think Deshaun hasn't scored under 20. I think it was under 24 fantasy points ever since his coach got fired, like that old coach. So I definitely like Watson a lot. Cook, I mean, he's a machine, and now that Madison's also out, I mean, he should get more carries off that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Booker, I even talked about with my anytime touchdown score. Myers, I like Newton. Loved him that one game. I think he had like 16 targets in that one game, and ever since then he's been downhill. But that's just because defenses were focusing on him. So I mean, 3 games later now, hopefully they don't. Cooks and Kute, Fuller's out. So I mean, Cooks is their number one option. Kute is their second option. For $3,500 for a second option for a really good quarterback, I'll take that any day. Frisker, Johnny Smith's out, and although Frisker's not supposed to start at tight end, I think it's Swaim is supposed to start,
Yeah.
but he only blocks. So I think in the one game that Jonnu was hurt in, or got hurt like middle of the game, Frisker ended up with like 8 catches for like 100 yards and a touchdown or something. So I definitely like him for literally min priced on DraftKings.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Eckler we talked about earlier, and then Seattle defense he's going up against the Giants. So you just gotta love that. And then looking at FanDuel, it's very very similar on FanDuel. We go Watson, Cook, Booker, which is the same. I added in Michael Thomas because we could fit him in there. Cooks, Mims, Frisker, Eckler, and Vikings D. So I mean, I already talked about a lot of these guys. Mims, I like a lot. He gets a lot of the air yards for the Jets. So I like him especially at 5.5. Plus, I don't think he's scored yet this year, which is crazy because he's like one of their like most targeted receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Vikings defense, I like at 4-3 against Jacksonville because I mean, as good as they played last week, I don't think Mike Glennon's actually that good. So yeah, so those are my 2 low risk lineups for each site.
Yeah, I like just taking a look at it myself. I have some consistencies on my lineups, but in just looking at yours, I really like Dalvin Cook. Obviously, I mean he's always a good choice, but I mean to always fit those to me, my knowledge isn't as deep with DFS as I think yours is, but I know for me, like it's very easy to kind of want to put all those big ticket guys in. You'll very quickly see if you include maybe more than 1 or 2 of those guys high, you're going to have to then go all those high risk, really low cost guys. So
Yeah.
the fact that I think you formed some pretty good lineups around Dalvin and Deshaun's, he was probably my next choice if I didn't go with the quarterback I decided to choose. But yeah, so yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens. The Frisker pick scares me a little bit. I mean, you're obviously you said you're going for the like just the chance that his value is low. His price is low, but his value could be high.
Yep.
I mean, that could be a hit or miss. That really could determine whether whether your lineup hits or not. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean the one thing with him that I saw, I mean on DraftKings you're supposed to be going for 3 times value, and on FanDuel you're supposed to be going for 2. So I mean obviously it's more low risk on DraftKings, I would say, just because I mean he scores 7 points. That's value. 7 points on DraftKings and full point PPR is like 4 catches for 30 yards or something.
yeah.
Like it's nothing. Like that's easy to hit.
Hmm.
FanDuel it's obviously a little bit harder just because it's I mean he basically needs almost 10. So it's definitely a lot more higher risk on FanDuel than it is DraftKings.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, for 4-6, I mean, the only other options I like at tight end really are like Waller. Waller, I like Ingram, I like. So, but those guys are all like in the 6s or 7s. So I mean, by saving that extra like almost $3,000, I can go up and get my Michael Thomas, or I can go up and get another good running back besides Cook. So yeah,
yeah.
so that's just my thoughts on it. But
All right. Yeah, yeah, it's fair. Yeah, we'll see. Next week we'll look back obviously and kind of reflect back on our picks. But yeah, no, I think this looks good. Interested to see how it plays out for you. So then yeah, turning over to mine. Um, I think I use a little bit less of the analytics in picking mine. I kind of think I like going off my gut. So I'm interested to see as we track this over the next couple of weeks, like who ends up prevailing. It's like baseball. You got the analytics guys or the old school guys like the Yankees who just go out there and go hit. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I kept some consistencies throughout my lineups. The one obviously consistent was the Derrick Henry. I think he just, I mean, you saw last week the guy just he's an animal. He his total I think he had in the first half. I think he had what was it over 100 yards, and I think he had 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah,
Um,
insane.
so I mean, I don't know. This is just it's as you said before, it's Derrick Henry season. So obviously had to put them both in there. In terms of the quarterbacks, I wanted to go Kirk on DraftKings. I love that the matchup with Jacksonville. And if you look at his stats, I think it's over the last 6 weeks. I want to say he's had a buy in there. So last 7 weeks, last 6 games, I think he's hit 3 touchdowns. I want to say I believe he's got 3 touchdowns for those 6 weeks. So I mean he's been playing at a pretty good level. I think the game script it'll kind of impact him a little bit. If they get ahead really, really early because of a couple Dalvin runs, I could be kind of screwed there. But we'll see. I'm going off the assumption that Jacksonville might maybe hang around, but who knows? We'll see what happens. And then Miles Sanders against Green Bay. I just think at this point, I mean that Eagles offense, it's really hit or miss. So I'm going there with a little bit of risk, but Green Bay's run defense is terrible. I think I saw they're 32nd in the league, or I don't know if that's overall run defense or if it's specific, portions of it, but they're not good on defense run wise. So we'll see what happens. It's a 4:25 game on CBS, so we'll see what he does. Primetime spot right there. For my receivers, I won't go in depth on each individually. I want to focus on Kiki Cootie. Actually, Devontae Parker, I'm going with. I like the matchup, and I like him at 6'4". When I was scrolling through and trying to find who I'm going to put, I liked him and around the groups and he was with of other people. So at that price tag, I like Parker. Cootie, I like a lot. I think the Houston offense is gonna. I feel like most people are assuming Brandon Cooks is gonna. I mean, me including. I think is gonna kind of step into a huge role. But it wouldn't surprise me to see someone else on the team, the receiving core, step up. So hopefully, Cootie's it for me. But I also liked his price too. I mean, he's only 3.5 on DraftKings is pretty low to be able to get someone that I have pretty good expectations for. And then to kind of skip over now to Devontae Booker and my flex, obviously with Josh Jacobs out and playing against the Jets. I mean, I think you or I could pick up some yards against the Jets at running back. So I'll take any part I could get of a backfield against the Jets, especially with Booker, who I think he's performed pretty well when given the carries. I think 2 weeks ago, I want to say, I think they were, I don't remember who they played, but they seemed to give him a lot of carries towards the end of the game. I believe it was they were winning by a lot, and he had one of his better outputs of the season. So we'll see what happens. That I'm kind of going matchup based, and then going over to my FanDuel side. I love myself some Taysom Hill this week. I had him in my parlay, and I'm putting here in my lineup. So I like his chances to score, and I think that's going to be a high scoring game. And at quarterback, I mean, he's a unique quarterback because he offers that running value. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm kind of banking on that being a high scoring matchup. So we'll see there. Kareem Hunt, another guy that I think with Nick Chubb back, you've seen his numbers drop most in the recent weeks. Going up against Tennessee, which I think should be a pretty good game. I just had a feeling, like I said, I'm going off gut feeling with these picks. So I don't know, just something about him just jumped out to me. So we'll go with him. I love Justin Jefferson. He's been automatic the last 3 weeks. He's put up, I think at least high teens to 20s. Last week he scored twice. So he's been great. Brandon Cooks, I'm kind of trying to counter that Cootie. So hopefully, one of those two, I'm guessing is going to go off. I mean, they're going up against Indianapolis, so you're assuming that they're going to have to kind of be competing and be playing from behind. I also went with the Colts spread, so we'll see what happens there. And then going down to Hawkinson and Gesicki, I know I paired two tight ends. I really like Hawkinson. I all year I've loved him. And I think going up against the Bears defense and Stafford just always seems to not have so many weapons. You don't know what the Bears defense, the pass rush could be bringing quick. He'll be looking for someone to hopefully check down to. Again, that's just me using my, I think I know what football knowledge I'm talking about. So we'll see where that comes up. And then I know Gesicki's had some big performances in some games this year. I know he's been shut down some, but just banking on. So I guess going off of what you were saying, I think my more my high risk lineup, I think, is my FanDuel lineup. I think with Hunt, with Slayton, and then Gesicki, I think a lot less confident in those. I mean, they could get 0 points. I think they could go off for me. I think I feel a little better about my DraftKings besides Cootie. I think most of those guys are, I feel pretty solid with. Tunyon, we'll see. Rodgers seems to love to throw to him. And against the Eagles, where, I don't, the whole teams are just a disaster. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what I put together. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So looking at DraftKings first, I love Kirk. He's definitely one of the more affordable quarterbacks on the slate. And plus, I mean, as you said, he's been going off in the last couple of weeks. Jacksonville's defense is really not that good. I mean, Christ, what they do? Play Browns last week, I think, and they made Baker look good. So that's pretty hard to do.
Exactly.
Derrick Henry, I love as a swap out for Cooks, or for Dalvin Cook, I should say, just because I mean Henry's right on his tail as the best running back this week, and I mean you're saving $500 on FanDuel by going Henry over Cook, and I think I want to say it's 300 on DraftKings, which I mean 300 on DraftKings it could bring you up from a decent player to a really good player, so I definitely like Henry there. I want to move down to Corey Davis. If as of right now, Brown is still questionable. If he ends up being out, Corey Davis, I'm going to end up putting in a bunch of my lineups just because, I mean, he's going to be the number one receiver on that team, and Tannehill's actually looked really good this year. So I love Corey Davis. I mean, I love him still, but even if Brown ends up being out, then he's going to be one of my pretty much almost a lock of the week for me. And then looking at on FanDuel, I just want to throw out that normally when you use two tight ends on FanDuel, it's considered a crime.
Oh, it is. There you go.
It is. So we'll see how it works out. But I thought I should throw that out there. It kind of makes me a little upset, but we'll see if it works. We'll see.
Good. I'm glad I did something that's not normal. I didn't even mean to, but good. We'll see. I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna figure out. Yeah, I think the reasoning behind me going with Gesicki at flex, I think it was just, again, I think I need to look more into the numbers. I think I made decisions just more off my gut, but I think it was a matter of just looking at who was at that price value with him and just.
Oh no, they both have great matchups, and like they're both top tight ends this week. It's like when you play two tight ends, that's just like it's just like a crime. Like I can't even explain it. Like even if they both go off, you're still looked at like, what the hell? This guy played two tight ends.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah,
but
we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. And the Slayton pick kind of scares me too, because I mean, I don't know who the hell's playing quarterback for the Giants this week. Is it Colt McCoy? I think Jones was pretty questionable. I know they said it was a pretty bad, was it his hamstring, I believe, or whatever it was. So we'll see there. I mean, that I'm going up because I think Seattle's secondary is horrific. They're one of the worst in the league, I know. Which is funny because I'm used to Legion of Boom. You're used to Seattle being, shut down. But we'll see there. Yes, I mean, the more, as I said, I think FanDuel. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm interested to see next week as we're looking back on this, and who knows, this could be the start of a trend for me here doing the against FanDuel logic and going with the two tight ends. So
yeah, really,
so
you can fire up a lot of people on Twitter with double tight ends.
That's good. That's good. All right. So yeah. So those were both of our DFS lineups. I'll go back to Tom's just to show that one quick. So just taking a look at them. I'm interested to see how these work out. We're thinking about probably looking at, obviously entering into some contests ourselves, seeing if we can win some stuff. But I think it's just a matter of us going head to head. Be interested to see, how we fare and on the two different sites, and kind of see, what our lineups end up pumping out for us. So that's it for the DFS side. As Tommy said, occupies. I know I've used them a good deal of times, and I've had a lot of success, using the optimizer and consulting with you on my lineups. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, just for the sake of competitiveness, I think I probably won't use them for the time being with this, because it's good to see, see potentially how it could benefit you versus some random Joe that just goes, oh, I'm going to pick off my gut. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But as I mentioned before, I think we're going to just wrap up with one last pick. We're going to call it the won't lose lock of the week. We're fairly confident that this pick won't lose. And if it does, I'll be very surprised. So going first to mine, as I mentioned before, I liked it a lot. I think the over 46.5 in Saints Falcons. As I mentioned before, I put this here because when I first saw the matchup, I my first thought is I'll do the over, but I'm a little nervous if it's if it's in the 50s. When I saw that at 46.5, again, Vegas knows they don't build those huge buildings there in Vegas off of guys here sitting saying, "Oh, I would have beat Vegas." So they know something. I could very well be sitting here next week saying that was brutal. But I don't know. To me, 46.5, I mean, you're looking at if that game's in the mid 20s, they're right on the over. And to me, they're that points, points, points. That's all, and that game's gonna be points. So we'll see what happens, but that's my absolute lock. And then Boyle, I know you got Eckler there, so you wanna go through that one?
Yeah, yeah. So as I said earlier, I mean, my man had 16 receptions last game. He went down on the one twice. Even at the end of the game, I don't know why they still tried to hand it off to him to get him a touchdown with like I don't know, it was like 20 seconds left, down by I don't even know, two scores or whatever, and they still handed it off to him to try to get him a touchdown. So they definitely want this guy in the end zone. Plus, I love the fact that it's positive odds. It's not like a minus, just because I mean, so many running backs are minus now, where you could bet on them and you just get no money from it. Like as you said with Henry, like you had to parlay that to even make it look enticing.
Exactly.
So I feel like
Exactly.
the plus 115 or yeah, plus 115 is pretty good for him, and I don't think it's going to be plus 115 next week. So
Mm-mm. Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think the value is the biggest thing there. I think you got plus 115 on an anytime touchdown for any running back. Like you said, I feel like early on in the season, I was looking and trying to do a lot of different parlay combinations with running backs, and almost every running back, regardless who it is, normally gets pretty like minus a good deal of odd. Some of them, I mean, some of the better ones, Dalvin Henry, they're up around 300. Whereas obviously Eckler here, I'm curious to see. Did you look at the rest of that games? I mean, are any of the guys on the Chargers favored, or are they all kind of plus? I'm curious if.
Um, I didn't really look at any other ones. I think Eckler's the top person. I want to say he's top.
Yeah, because I'm just that shocks me that he's. Let me see. I'll pull it up. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick because to me that's nuts. If could Keenan Allen maybe be minus? I mean, Herbert seems to like to throw to him a lot.
Yeah, I mean he might be. I'm pretty sure he was at least he was top two. But yeah, I mean I don't know how any game can go about going have no minus or negative numbers. So
Right, right.
I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I'm looking at it here, and actually he is the lowest odds. Next after
Wow,
him is Keenan. As Keenan, who's around similar. And then next up is Hunter Henry plus 250. So
wow.
I guess Vegas is saying, hey, go ahead, pick who's going to score because we don't know.
Yeah, that's basically what they're
um,
saying here. I mean, for them
yeah,
to have
well,
like what top three are Chargers and not even any Patriots in there, like that's
yeah,
crazy. But
yeah, interesting. All right,
yeah,
yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see what happens. But yes, as we said, these are absolutely won't lose locks of the weeks, and if they do, that's not good because these are the won't lose locks of the week. But I feel good about them. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, first episode, I'm sure we're going to work out some kinks, but I think it went well. And I think hopefully we'll have some good stuff to talk about next week, looking back on our lineups and our picks. Um, and then obviously basketball's coming up soon. We'll talk a lot about basketball. Hopefully, get into a lot of the preseason there. I know you mentioned before preseason basketball is very profitable. I know, especially in the DFS side of it.
Yeah,
And coming up soon, I know we'll talk about some of our picks. I know both of us have a finals matchup that we really like. I won't reveal the two teams yet. We'll wait till we talk about that. But yeah, I think it.
do you want to reveal the odds for the two teams though? To
Oh yeah, well yeah, you ended up because you ended up. So if you want to give your odds, because I know I'll give mine too, but I
yeah,
think you ended up getting it better than I did.
so we have the same finals matchup. Um, I got them at what was it plus? I think plus.
We were
Or
saying
I
it
think it
was
was
what it was
89
going
to
to
1.
be.
89 to 1.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean that's definitely a moneymaker right there. So
yeah.
we'll reveal that at a next
Yeah.
episode or the
Well,
episode
yeah,
after or
that'll
something.
be a TBD, but I think one of the teams is like a popular trendy pick, and I think the other's kind of like not a forgotten about pick, but it's one that
Definitely a
I
sleeper
think
pick. Definitely a
yeah,
sleeper.
absolutely. So yeah. So we'll talk about that later, and I think I think hopefully we're back here talking about nice green profitable winnings, but then again, as I said today, I'm a little down in the dumps with Rutgers, so we'll hopefully we'll bounce back. But Tommy, it's It's been good. I'm glad we were able to put this together. Any last words before we shut it down?
Nah, thought it was a good podcast, and we'll get back at it next week.
Yeah, we'll be back, and we'll be back with some more won't lose blocks of the week. I promise you, in the over of the Saints Falcons will not lose. I will. I'm not gonna cut anything off. I'm not gonna do anything, but they will. That there's no way. That just there's no way. So we'll see. Hopefully, I don't bite my words next week. But for my co-host Boyle, I've been Tommy, and thanks for coming on and watching along with us. Hopefully, you put some money down with our picks, and you're looking in the green too. So till next week. See ya.